be a fair and impartial juror in this case moving forward? As to all three questions, I'm seeing only shakes of the head no. We will resume now in the matter of State versus Joseph Palazo Jr. Is the state ready to call its next witness?
We are, Your Honor. The state would call Detective Sergeant Aaron McNeel.
Raise your right hand. Solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give relative to the cause now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We are learning that the acoustics are not great in this room, so try to keep your voice up and speak into the mic so the back jurors can hear you.
Okay.
Can you start by just stating your name and spelling both your first and last name?
Yep. My name is Aaron McNeel, and Aaron is A-R-O-N, and last name is McNeel, which is M-C-N-E-I-L.
Okay. And how are you employed?
I'm employed by the Vermont State Police.
Okay. And how long have you been with the Vermont State Police?
Just about 16 years.
Okay. So you were employed by them in October of 2021?
I was.
Okay. And what was your rank at the time?
In October of 2021, my rank was Detective Sergeant.
Okay. And what were your assignments?
My assignment is commander of our crime scene search team for the major crime unit.
Okay. The jury heard from Amy Nolan yesterday. Is that the same? Is it the same role or assignment that she was doing in that?
At that time, she was the assistant team commander for crime scene.
Okay, great. How long at that point had you been a member of the crime scene search team?
At that point, I was a member of the team for approximately 7 years.
Okay. And approximately how many major crime scene investigations have you participated in?
As of today, approximately 222 major crime scenes.
Okay. In mid-October of 2021, were you made aware of an investigation related to Emily Ferlazzo?
I was.
And what information were you initially provided?
Initially, I was advised that she was a missing person and that several vehicles had been seized as a result of the initial investigation. And at that point, crime scene was asked to process several vehicles.
Okay. And is that the point where you became involved?
It is.
And when did that initial involvement occur?
That would have been October 19th of 2021.
Okay. Did you, on October 19th, did you enter the van as part of that processing?
Not on the 19th.
Okay. And what task were you assigned then?
On October 19th, I was assigned to process a red Jeep that had been seized as a result of the initial investigation.
Okay. And what was the authority for entering that Jeep?
I was provided with a search warrant to process that Jeep.
Okay. Judge, the state moves to admit 92 through 103, I believe, with no objection.
Any objection?
No objection. Thank you.
92 through 103, you said?
Yes.
92 through 103 are admitted.
Detective, have you already reviewed all of these photos that we're about to go through?
I believe I have, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start with States 92. Can you tell the jury what that is a photo of?
That was the Jeep that was processed on October 19th, 2021.
Okay. Before you started the search, did you verify that this was the Jeep
Yes,
the
I had a
warrant
copy.
was for?
I did. I had a copy of the warrant, and I made sure that the make, model, and the registration plate was the correct vehicle.
Okay. And what were you specifically searching the Jeep for?
The search specifically was related to any of the items listed that ordered us to search for inside of the Jeep, specifically cellular devices, possible human remains. There was a list of things that were listed on the warrant.
Okay. Any weapons?
Yes.
Okay. And so at the time the search warrant was granted, had Emily's body not been located?
I was aware that likely human remains had been found in a van that was also being processed at the same time at the same facility, but I was not certain whose remains they were or for sure if they were human yet at that point.
Okay. What items of importance did you seize from the van? I'm sorry, from the Jeep.
From the Jeep, there was a Smith & Wesson brand knife inside of a sheath that I found inside the driver's door. And there was also a cellular telephone that was in the center console of the Jeep.
Show you what's been marked as States 93. Can you tell us what this is?
This is a photo of the cellular telephone that's in the center console prior to collection.
Okay. And States 94.
That's with the screen activated or the screen turned on is a picture that crime scene took of the phone that night.
Okay. I see part of a 2 up in the corner. Was this labeled as Jeep number 2?
It was.
Okay. Is there any other number associated with this piece of evidence?
There is. There could be several numbers, but I'm specifically aware that this is listed as item number 14 in our software database.
Can you, this happened, I think, once yesterday with Detective Nolan. Can you explain to the jury why one piece of evidence might have 2 numbers?
Sure.
Or multiple numbers?
So State Police, we have a software database that keeps track of all evidence collected or all items collected by the State Police. It's called File on Queue. And File on Queue assigns a number and a barcode to every piece of evidence that we collect that's individualized. What happens for crime scene processing in cases like this is there will be several different portions of the scene. There may be an actual crime scene, there may be a vehicle, there's an autopsy, and at each of those events, the evidence number starts over at 1. So there may be the first item collected at the autopsy may be labeled, medical examiner item number 1. The first item in the Jeep will be Jeep number 1, and the van would be number 1. And then File on Queue, when those items are put into the database under the same case number, it'll give it one mastered number. So it makes it easy so we can have one number assigned to that piece of evidence for reference purposes, but also I can reference it for days like today in court for juries like yourselves.
Okay, thank you. So this item, once it was put into the master list, was labeled item 14.
That is correct.
Okay, and that's the phone that you found in Mr. Ferlazzo's Jeep.
Yes.
Okay. I'll show you what State 95. Can you tell us what that is?
States 95 is the registration card that was found inside of the Jeep, indicating that the Jeep was registered to a Joseph Palazo. It also includes the registration plate and VIN number and other information.
Okay. And so is that further confirmation that this Jeep you were searching belonged to Mr. Ferlazzo?
Yes.
Okay. And was the iPhone that you located brought back to VSP for processing?
It was.
Okay. Was that the entirety of your involvement on October 19th?
Not entirely. After we processed the Jeep, I assisted Sergeant Nolan with some evidence packaging and also entering items into the software database.
Okay. And did you have further involvement in the case the next day on the 20th?
I did.
Okay. And how did that come about? What did you do on the 20th?
The crime scene team, we did not finish processing the van on the first night on the 19th. We wanted to return. We had more work to do on the day or on the next day during the 20th. Plus, we wanted to do more work during the daylight hours. So I returned to process the van to assist with processing the van on the 20th.
Okay. And when you arrived, was the van secured with evidence tape?
It was.
Okay. And so did you take that off in order to re-enter the van?
We did.
Okay. While continuing the search of the van, did you hear from Detective Nolan?
I did. She contacted me.
And where was she at the time she contacted you?
At the time she contacted me, she was at the medical examiner's office at the autopsy.
Okay. And did she ask you to search the van for something specific?
She did.
What did she tell you to search for?
She advised me that during autopsy, Emily's body was found to have numerous stab wounds. So she asked us to further look during processing for any sharp objects or knives inside of the van.
Okay. I'll show you States 96. Can you just tell the jury what this is showing?
This is a photo taken by the crime scene team inside of the van that shows a block of knives.
Okay. And did you collect these knives?
We did.
close, states 97, just a close-up of the same block.
It is.
States 98.
States 98 is a crime scene photo of item number 44 collected from the van itself.
Okay. And did you notice anything of interest on this knife?
I did. During the collection of several of these knives, we noticed that there's reddish-brown stains on the knives.
Okay. States 45.
States 45 is another knife taken out of the block from the van.
And if you, was a swab of the reddish-brown stains on these knives collected?
There was.
Okay. And so on States 44, was that swab labeled as 44A, 44B?
It would have been, yes.
Yeah, okay. And then on 45, was that swab labeled as 45B?
It was.
States 100, can you tell the jury what this is?
States 100 is an image of the knife blade with the reddish-brown stains I was speaking of.
Okay. And so this is an example of what you would have swabbed and sent to the lab?
Correct, yes.
States 46?
It's an additional knife from the knife block.
And so the swab from this knife would have been labeled 46B?
That is correct.
Just so we're clear, that was States 101, though?
Yes, Judge, thank you. States 102?
That would be crime scene item number 49 from the van.
And again, the swab then from this item would have been 49B?
That is correct.
And States 103?
States 103 is, again, crime scene number 50 from the van, which is a pair of scissors.
And the swab of a reddish-brown stain on these scissors would have been labeled as 50B?
That is correct.
Okay. And were all of these swabs sent to the Vermont Forensic Lab for testing?
They were.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions, Judge.
Any questions?
Questions? Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here we go.